The worst decision that I ever made as a first-time home buyer is buying a house in a damn HOA.
Our HOA is $365 a month. First of all, with the cost of eggs, thanks to the Biden administration for killing all the birds, who can even afford HOA?
If you're not careful when buying a home, you'll end up like the homeowners we'll see today, stuck with an unaffordable HOA payment, no control over your home, and you'll be forced to give away your wealth for pennies. If you've ever heard that HOA fees can skyrocket out of nowhere, pay very close attention to this next clip.
Well, imagine your HOA fees going from $400 a month to more than $2,000 a month just a couple of years later.
Yeah, that's what's happening to some residents at a local condo complex right now. Fox 35's Matt Trezza is live tonight in Winter Park. So, Matt, you spoke to some people who are really fed up.
Yeah, they're saying their monthly HOA fees have more than quadrupled. Some people say they're having to think about moving out. Cindy Moran owns a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo here at the Winter Park Woods. She says since buying the unit in 2022, she's put a lot of work into the space.
Renovated it, gutted both bathrooms, gutted the kitchen, repainted everything, redid all the trim, the doors, everything.
During that time, she says their HOA fees have skyrocketed. In the meantime, they haven't seen any significant improvements around the property.
The HOA fees, what were they when you moved in?
$400 a month.
And what are they now?
$2,081 going into 2025.
Alexander Austriaco is a retiree who also lives at the complex. He's seen similar increases and says he may have to go back to work to cover the cost.
I think it's over 2 years I haven't been working in IT, so that's sometimes they don't like that.
If my HOA fees jump from $400 a month to $2,000 a month, I would expect valet parking, laundry service, groceries delivered, and an entire luxury package. And I'm serious about that. This feels like straight up robbery, especially since the property doesn't even look well maintained. Most people can't absorb that kind of increase, especially when jobs and wages aren't rising to match these expenses. So the obvious reaction is, why don't they just sell? But with HOA fees that high, finding a buyer is not going to be easy. And we have a lot of condos that are just sitting on the market. Do you think everyone who lives here should try to sell? Let me know in the comments. Believe it or not, there's a reason that this massive increase is legal. Let's hear what it is.
Insurance expert Carl Sussman says the steep increases mainly come from new state regulations in the wake of the Surfside building collapse. HOAs must now keep much more money on hand to cover infrastructure improvements and repairs.
The inspector comes out and says, look, we have to shear the building up. We have to do other types of upgrades and improvements to bring it to code to be more weather resistant. Then the HOA is basically forced to have to go forward with that, which means a lot of money to the individual homeowners.
Sussman says owners should get more involved with their HOAs to have a say over which inspectors and contractors get hired and the costs they charge for their services.
Be sure that the person that's coming out and looking and giving the bids is legitimate, right? And keep them honest. Maybe get 1 or 2 different bids out there. But remember that the law will not let you just pick anybody. It has to be an actual licensed contractor for that type of business.
Now, I understand the need to have more reserves, especially after the Surfside condo collapse. Safety should, of course, always come first. With that being said, in my opinion, it's unreasonable to expect homeowners to handle massive hikes without a gradual increase or rollout or a warning. The bottom line is this level of increase is not sustainable. I wouldn't be surprised if some owners end up losing their condos because of the increase. It is wild to me that there weren't stronger requirements before the condo collapse to ensure that buildings were weather resistant and that the reserves were well funded. Some people might take this as a reason to never buy a condo, but I won't go that far. It's a personal choice, and the key is for you to be fully informed. Always check the HOA financials before buying. Ask how often special assessments have happened and if there are any that are coming up. And if you're not familiar, special assessments are extra charges issued by the HOA when unexpected expenses come up that the reserves cannot cover. Would you ever buy a condo? Let me know in the comments. Or let me know if you've had a bad experience with a condo or an HOA. I'd love to hear from you. If you've ever worried about paying for an HOA that gives you absolutely nothing, pay very close attention to this next clip.
My HOA now is $708 a month. We got a special assessment, so it's $708 for the next 4 months. And then it'll go back down to $603 a month. 2, the pool is closed. Apparently Miami-Dade closed it down because they said it was unsafe. 3, I'm hearing that 2 people have tripped in the community and broken bones because of the concrete and the sidewalks are uneven. And just over time, the community has run down. Like, it needs to be painted, it needs pressure washing, the concrete areas need to be fixed, the pools need to be fixed. And it's like, what am I paying all this money for if I can't even feel safe in my community where I'm walking outside at night and, you know, uneven ground and things like that. And this community was one of the better communities to move into 4 years ago when I first bought my place, because I've looked at some communities in Miami-Dade in my price point for what I was looking for. I looked at some and I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't living here. There's a lot of communities in Miami-Dade that like run down, and that was 4 years ago. And I'm starting to feel like my community is one of those communities now. And the sad part is like, there's nowhere cheaper to live in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Also, my mortgage has gone up because of the escrow, like the taxes and insurance. It goes up. So my payment has gone up. And in addition to now I have a really high HOA to pay. And then your pay doesn't go up. So there's a lot of things that happens in America that discourages you from wanting to like go through the cycle and live here. If you have any resources that you know about that can somehow audit an HOA to see like what's going on, can you please drop them down below? Because it's time. It's time.
So if the pool is closed, that should be an automatic discount. Why pay for amenities that you can't even use? At $700 a month, an uneven sidewalk, worn paint, those things should not be a problem. That's premium pricing with garbage results. Now, I wonder what the condition of the community was when she first moved in. And it's honestly sad that this seems to be the best option available in her area within her price range. Her situation is even harder because her mortgage has also increased, likely due to rising insurance or property taxes. And down in Florida, insurance is really bad right now. This is why it's critical to know what you can comfortably afford, not just what the bank approves you for. In the Keys Within Reach community launching very soon, there's a calculator that'll be available that'll help you figure out what you can actually afford based on real expenses and not just your pre-approval. And let's actually check it out real quick. So here is our home affordability calculator, and we'll run through this really quickly. So just a few things. So the way the calculator works is we suggest the 28% rule. So you want your primary residence mortgage to be around 20 to 30% or so of your monthly income. Okay. And these are just guidelines. Everyone's situation is different, but just wanted to walk you through that. So for this example, we have somebody in Texas, in Harris County. You can choose your state and county, who makes $75,000 a year, and they have, let's say, $1,000 in monthly debts. And so we'll calculate. So roughly the maximum home price someone like this should consider is around $200,000. And this is an estimated monthly payment. Okay. These are just estimates, but just to get you in the mindset of limiting the amount of your income that goes towards your mortgage. So this is a tool that'll be available in the Keys Within Reach community coming very soon. All right, let's get back to the video. To me, her frustrations are valid. She's paying a lot and not seeing a lot of value in return. Do you think paying $700 for an HOA is too much? Let me know in the comments. If you think that was bad, what you're about to see next is going to leave you speechless.
All right, friends, I need some legal advice here. Tell me what I can and what I can't do. So my parents live in these condominiums where they pay $571 for their homeowners association. About a year ago, they asked for money for the reserve because they had no more money in the homeowners association account. $2,000 is what they asked for, and my parents paid it. Fast forward to today, they sent out another notice asking for another $1,700 to put back in the reserve. They haven't fixed the roofs. The dumpster area literally looks like this all the time, every time. The grass is like never cut and never maintained. I'm sure there's probably something in the contract that allows them to request this money to be provided by all the homeowners. My concern is this money's being requested and they're not using it towards anything. If there's anybody who's familiar with like homeowners association and your rights when it comes to stuff like that, I would really appreciate a little bit of weighing in, because honestly, it's stressing me out that my parents are so stressed out knowing that they have to pay this money. And I honestly don't know at this point if it's even legal for them to request this.
I'm honestly speechless looking at this. All right. This place looks like it's been abandoned and not like people actually live here and are paying to live here. If they've had multiple special assessments, where did that money go? go. Landscaping and basic cleaning should be the bare minimum. I don't understand how these kind of conditions are acceptable. And it's wild that they keep asking for more money while offering zero upkeep in return. Something seems really off here if you ask me, and I'm sure you probably agree. One of the comments on the video suggested that the owner should organize to request a financial audit of the HOA, and I completely agree. Someone else suggested withholding payments until something is done. Now, I'm not telling you or anyone in this situation what to do, but I understand telling somebody that. Would you keep paying your HOA if your property looked like this? Let me know in the comments. If you buy a home in an HOA community without doing your research, you will regret it. This next clip is going to show you why.
Our HOA is $365 a month. First of all, with the cost of eggs, thanks to the Biden administration for killing all the birds, who can even afford HOA? However, you may be thinking $365, like I've heard worse HOA fees. Okay, we don't have a pool. We don't even have a playground. I barely have trees in my backyard. My yard is the size of a toddler's sandbox, okay? The only thing it covers basically is landscaping. So you want to know what I did? I took the matter into my own hands and I was like, I want to be on the board. I want to be on the HOA board because I want to. Can we at least get dog poop bags and some garbage bins? So this is my official ballot to be on the board of my HOA board. Can we get dog poop bags? Can we get a park bench? There's like a little sidewalk. Can we at least get like 2 park benches so I can sit and stare at, I don't know, the woods, because I live in the middle of nowhere now in New Jersey. Like, nothing. We have nothing.
Based on her questions, I wonder if she clearly understood what was and what wasn't included as part of the HOA before moving in. With that being said, I understand wanting a little more in return for a $300 HOA fee, something like a bench or dog waste bags. Those things are not really that expensive. If you're considering a home with an HOA, make sure you know exactly what's included and what's not. It can save you a lot of frustration down the road. And I have to say, I really respect that she's choosing to get involved by running for the board. I think that is a great way to advocate for the community and push for some positive changes. Have you ever served on an HOA board? Would you consider serving on an HOA board? Let me know in the comments. Not everything about HOAs is bad, but some of the rules are absolutely ridiculous. Let me show you what I mean.
The worst decision that I ever made as a first-time home buyer is buying a house in a damn HOA. Okay? Now, let me share my experience with you guys. And for you HOA lovers, please help me understand, because I feel like some of these rules they make up, dumb. And I'm like, who approves all this? Like, anyways, so my driveway and my garage is in the back of my house, okay? Keep in mind, there's no one behind me. So I used to put my trash cans somewhere along right here, okay? Now, I keep getting these violations saying that I have to keep my trash bins out of sight. So, meaning I have to either put it in the garage or in my patio. One, I'm not going to put it in the garage where it's going to take up space and then it's going to stink up the garage, okay? So I have to come and I have to put them in my patio. But then every time I want to come and hang out and chill in my patio, or, you know, I want to come and grill outside, I have these trash bins that attract thousands of flies. And when I come in and out, flies get inside the house. So it's like, who approves this, bro? Like, and guys, if you guys are going to go buy a house, I promise you guys, you do not want to live in an HOA. You might as well go live in a regular home with no HOA, where you guys could actually do whatever you guys want because it's your house. At this point, you might as well just be a renter, bro, and just ask your landlord that you could just paint the walls or do whatever you want to do inside the interior, because that's all you could do. So help me understand these dumb rules that these HOAs be making.
It seems pretty illogical to me to dictate where someone can put their trash cans. Putting trash inside of the garage or right on the patio where somebody might be hanging out makes no sense to me. And I noticed that he doesn't have a fence in the back, and now I'm wondering if they would cause a problem if he tried to add a fence to close his backyard. Now, the real question is, did he thoroughly read the HOA rules before he bought this house? Because he seemed a little bit surprised. If you choose to live in an HOA, you have to understand the rules and decide if you're willing to live with them before you move in, because you cannot change them. Do you believe it's a bad idea to live in an HOA? Let me know in the comments. One of the biggest fears people have is HOA leaders stealing money. But what happens when that nightmare actually comes true? Let's find out. But first, I need you to hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to get better at real estate investing, you got to follow this channel.
Only on Fox here tonight, homeowners in a Northwest Side subdivision say they fear foreclosure after fines and legal fees from their homeowners association is quickly adding up. Fox 26's Randy Wallace on the job. He is now joining us with an exclusive report.
Back in 2019, the Inwood Forest Village subdivision made headlines due to a HOA scandal. The HOA president at the time was criminally charged for stealing money. That made some older homeowners skeptical about paying HOA dues.
I'm trying to figure out what is going on.
Because of the scandal back in 2019, Lucille North says she didn't think the Inwood Forest Village Homeowners Association even existed.
And I was really confused because I didn't understand how they could foreclose on my home and we didn't have an HOA.
Not only does the HOA exist, it says Lucille owes at least 10 grand in unpaid dues and legal fees. You're on the verge of losing your house.
Yes.
That must be kind of terrifying.
I don't sleep well. My skin is broken out like I'm a 15-year-old.
How long have you been at the house?
29 years.
The HOA referred us to Crest Management. Bill Higgins with Crest Management says they try to work with homeowners to avoid foreclosures. He says Crest Management oversees 105,000 homes in the greater Houston area, and there's only been 2 foreclosures.
I understand why residents might be skeptical about paying dues when somebody from the HOA was caught stealing. I wonder if the elderly woman received any certified mail over the years, especially if there was some sort of new HOA formed or a new company taking over. I just wonder where the disconnect is. I like that transition to the next scene when he went like that. I don't know if you caught that, but that was a cool edit. Let me know if you caught that too. I'm also curious how long Crest Management has been in charge and whether this woman could potentially get on a payment plan so she can keep her house. I really hope she's able to find a lawyer who's willing to help her out pro bono just so she can get out of this situation. Do you think there should be regular financial audits to confirm that the HOA money is being spent properly? Let me know in the comments. But the story doesn't stop there. Some residents believe they're being targeted for a very specific reason. Let's take a look.
If you would not have agreed to the payment plan, you would have lost your house.
They would have tried to foreclose on my house because I owe so little on it. I wasn't going to let them do that.
In 2023, Jonathan Spence says he paid 5 grand to stop the HOA from foreclosing on his house.
People are being targeted that don't owe a lot of money on their houses. And like me, I have under $20,000 to pay my house off. So that means, from listening to some people in here, they are trying to target people with low balances.
Crest Management denies targeting homeowners who are close to owning their homes, saying they have no way of knowing that information.
Most of our neighbors have the same problem where they don't receive that mail letting them know that there are fines being accumulated on top of fines.
Crest Management says after 2 letters are sent, homeowners receive notices by certified mail.
The money that they're collecting from the people that are paying their dues, where is that?
Since I've been here, the pool have never been open. Since I've been here, they had one guy that was riding around securing the place, the neighborhood. I don't see anyone.
Crest Management says it's been in recovery mode since taking over about a year ago and is trying to make the HOA financially solvent so improvements can be made, like opening the pool. Higgins says the HOA financials are posted every month on its website.
We're senior citizens in here. You cannot intimidate people to do what you want them to do when you want them to do, and then you slap a fine on them.
Crest Management says it can't comment on Lucille North's situation. She says she can't afford an attorney to fight the HOA in court.
I pray and I rely on my friends and neighbors, the ones that are helping me, to try to keep my home.
You can read the management company's entire statement on our website. If you are at odds with your HOA, remember you must still pay your dues or face losing your home. Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
If people truly didn't receive mail about fines or fees, that is a serious problem. The company claims mail was sent, so now it's a matter of who you believe. Either way, communication seems to be breaking down and something is not adding up. I don't see the point in paying for amenities like a pool or security if they're not even functioning. In my opinion, it's totally fair for residents to ask where all of the money is going. Some residents believe the HOA is targeting homeowners who are close to paying off their homes. That's a serious accusation, but if it is true, that's pretty scary. Do you think they're targeting people who are almost done paying off their homes? Let me know in the comments. So whether or not you choose to live in an HOA community is completely up to you. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I do want you to be fully informed. If you're thinking about buying a condo or a home in an HOA, here are a few questions that I highly suggest you ask. Is the HOA properly funded and managed? Are there any special assessments coming up? How often do the HOA dues increase? What are the rules? And can you live with them? Because once you're in there, it's too late to be surprised, and you don't want to be the next person giving away your wealth for pennies. So if you have any other tips or comments or stories you want to share, I would love to hear from you. Definitely make sure to leave a comment down below. Now that you know about HOA nightmares, I want you to learn about how to avoid the biggest homebuyer mistakes. Check out this video right here.